When I was young, my favorite thing to do was climbing trees. No matter how difficult it was, if you couldn't find me, you had to look up. Now, there was one slight problem. I was my mom's only daughter. For those of you who have an older brother, and you're the lucky miracle child born a few years later, being a daughter at that, you'll understand. After all, there's only one reason we exist, right? To be their personal dress-up dolls. That's right. Little me would be dressed in the cutest skirts and darling dresses to be presented to you all. No jeans, no sneakers, and God forbid if anyone told my mom to dress me in overalls. Now, did that stop me? Nope. I was still climbing that tree with a skirt or sandals or a bow in my hair, not having a care in the world. Why would I? I'm a child, and children should explore the world, be adventurous, independent, and so forth and so forth. At least, that's what all the adults tell us to be, right? Right. When I got slightly older, I was told by the adults surrounding me to come down from the trees and to play with all the other girls who are braiding each other's hair. The reason? My clothes were considered not appropriate for the activity of climbing trees. Not only that, but it was just too dangerous for such a delicate little girl to be climbing that high. It sounds absurd, right? But it worked, because in my teenage years, I became so insecure of my femininity that I exclusively wore trousers as to not be called a delicate little girl ever again. But I stopped doing the thing I loved, climbing trees. My topic today is how gender-neutral uniforms could benefit the generation to come. We are living in a generation that prides itself on understanding that gender no longer is two options on a checklist. It's a variety. It's part of a wide spectrum. So let me ask you, if our society is changing, then why are our clothes not doing the same thing? Let me give you an example. We go to the store. There's a boy and a girl section. I personally know a lot of girls who go to the men's section either because it's more fashionable, boyfriend jeans, or because it's just more comfortable. And yet, they are looked upon and frowned upon as if it's like an absurd idea that you're buying a jeans that's been designed for a male. This topic is not the most talked about. But gender-neutral uniforms is not a new concept. In fact, in Asia, a school decided to have their own collection of gender-neutral uniforms. So, as a progressive industrial society who prides themselves on being innovative and open-mindedness, shouldn't we have jumped on this train a while ago? I wanted to come here and give you all a clear view of how the kids in my school feel about the uniform. So I conducted some research. The first experiment, I sent out a questionnaire to year 7 and 8s. I had 3 key questions. Do you like your uniform? Have you ever felt restricted by the uniform? And should boys and girls have the same uniform? I got 50 responses. And for the first question, I got a 50-50 response. Some liked the uniform, some didn't. Now, the second question is where I got a clear view of how girls struggled in certain activities. I got a quote saying, "It's so tiring to run in a skirt when the wind is blowing it up all the time." Even boys complain how the trousers cause them to not be able to be the football star they want to be. And then there's a third question. Then there's a third question. For the third question, I got 59% saying, no, boys and girls shouldn't have the same uniform. But 41 said yes. And now you might think 41%, that's kind of a low number. But these are 50 people out of my school. And my school is around 1,500. Imagine how many more might be answering positively. For my second experiment, I went down to the kindergarten and had a nice relaxed session with year 5 and 6. I gave them a questionnaire, no mention of gender whatsoever. I just wanted their opinions and feelings of the uniform. And trust me, they gave their opinions, all right. 90% of them said something negative about the uniform. And honestly, these answers were so thought out. Most of them complained about how the material was itchy, and even one said how stiff they felt in it. Like, let's begin with the girls. Most girls said, the tights and skirts are too cold in the winter. The skirt blows up in the wind, and we can't do the activities we want. One even quoted, I can't do the things I love, running, jumping, and climbing. And the boys, well, they stated how the trousers caused them to be too stiff to play football or just running in general. Do you see the parallels between the 5, 6, 7, and 8s? Years later, they're still complaining about the same thing. As a little side note, I let them design their own uniform or how to improve the current one, more to their liking. Now, I understand the need for smartness. In fact, all of them did as well. But when it restricts the functioning of a child's ability to be a child, that is concerning. Now, what is my world-changing idea? It is my belief that if we gave the children of the kindergarten a non-gender specific uniform, it may help overcome the possible confusion, expectations, and behavior issues when they're older. And when they're in secondary, this uniform will become optional together with the standard boy and girl uniform. Now, I already know what some people might say or what questions I would get. Why are we forcing our children to be less feminine or masculine? Well, regarding it being mandatory, when you work in a profession such as nursing, construction, lawyers, etc., those uniforms are unisex and they're mandatory. So why would it be strange to teach our children this from an early age on, as that is one of the functioning of a uniform? Regarding it being less feminine, femininity is not specific. It's subjective. And personally, whether I'm wearing pants or a dress, I'm still a girl, because that's my identity. And I should not be judged for the way I dress, and I shouldn't have done when I was 3, and not now. And you and your children should not be judged either. This is something that we need to think about. This is something that you can help me to change the world. Thank you.